another show. I have with me a special guest.
Hey, how's it going? I am Celia. I'm glad to be here. I've been knowing Eric for a long time now.
Doing baseball bats together, huh?
Baseball bats and trouble and
And with
all that
crayons,
good
talking
stuff.
about real life.
Uh-huh. Yep. How's it going, everybody?
So we today again, we have Celia Borg, a San Francisco native, who is currently studying her master's degree in Chicago.
Yep.
Could you tell us
Yes.
a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I am in Chicago. I've been here since 2014, so almost 7 years now. I went to DePaul University in Chicago, graduated in 2018. I've been here since that, and I am now getting my master's in secondary education at DePaul. So I'm, in the thick of that, almost done. Have maybe a year to go, and I am currently teaching at a preschool, a Jewish preschool, an assistant teacher there. Uh, Almost done with my first full school year. We'll be going back next year until I finish my master's.
That's before I jump into this question, I wanted to ask you, what did you study in undergrad or I'm sorry, did you mention that?
Yeah, yeah, no, I didn't mention that. I in my undergrad, in the beginning, I didn't really know what to do. I was in communications at first, and was just kind of broadly in communications, but I knew I just didn't want to do that. So I did eventually change into journalism my sophomore year, and I got my excuse me, not my master's, my undergrad in journalism because I am a writer. I do like writing. I've always loved writing. Um,
That's like
but that
music to my ears. I might need your advice.
Yeah, no, I pride myself in my writing, and I was actually during DePaul. I was writing for some of like so I was writing for the newspaper. I was writing like I was interviewing like film critics and like stuff that I love like, about movies and film. Um, but when I did graduate, kind of didn't feel like that was it for me.
Mhm.
Even though I loved writing, I think I didn't like writing. I wanted to write my own words. I didn't like writing other people's words and like filling that specific narrative. I just wanted to just go free out and like have my own commentary.
Yeah,
So I just didn't. I'm
I'm sorry.
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I just didn't see that world for me.
Okay.
Um, so when I graduated, I was like, okay, I was right. I had some internships and I had a couple, like I kind of had like this unpaid job on this newspaper. Um, and just didn't think it was the great fit for me. I respect journalism and like what you're doing right now. I respect that so much because I just couldn't get and I'm just kind of a quiet person. Like I'm just kind of introverted, so just it was just uncomfortable for me asking like specific certain questions. Like I didn't know how to approach it, and yeah, man, I don't
I
know.
want to take that actually no that because you hit on something that like gets passed over, and I think we can take this moment right now to like really for the listeners to like really hear that example. You learned that you didn't like something though. You pursued it, you
Yeah.
did it, and it led you to the next thing, and that's so important because you learned something that you know what I enjoyed this, but you know what it isn't all necessarily it.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Yeah.
at least you tried and you did, and that's right there half the battle. Like,
Right. Yeah. And it's not a crime if it doesn't go off for you.
right.
Like I learned like you're not gonna have the answers right away. You know, life is a journey and it's so unpredictable. So you have to go with your gut feeling and what's right for you. And I feel like our generation has they kind of have a rough time doing that sometimes
Mhm.
because of like expectations and standards. And, we're expected to accomplish this by 25. And when you don't accomplish that specific success at that age, you start looking down at yourself. You think, oh, and you compare yourself to other people, and that's not good at all.
Yeah, no, it just I agree because I felt like I was gonna pay off my school loans by this and X, Y, and Z and this and that, but just even being right with yourself, and that's something I know we talked about before this, but
Mhm.
just being comfortable in your own shoes, your own skin, and you in learning the things that you live with. Like I know anxiety and stuff like that is so real, and I didn't necessarily identify what that was. It's funny because um, it's like I don't know if you watch Big Mouth, but it's pretty funny. But
I
it's
do.
also really real. Like some of that stuff is aside from all the raunchiness, like no, that stuff's real. Like living with anxiety and stuff like that, and not
It is. It could
identifying
be
what's
it could
going
be
on.
crippling. It could be really crippling in some sense. Like you don't feel like, when you're anxious and depressed, first you're anxious and you're tripping up all this shit that probably is little, and then it makes you sad and it makes you not want to do anything. And I think the battle is trying to figure out how to manage all that too.
And what's crazy is that it wasn't until someone told me this, I think a year ago, maybe, yeah, a year, maybe less, but which kind of helped me really identify and like, I guess, control
Mhm.
the anxiety. And he was telling me anxiety is conspiracy theories about yourself that you make up. And once he told me that,
That's a good one.
I'm just like, I'm like, why would I do that to myself? Why would I put myself, like, why would I do that? Why am I doing this? Like, it's me versus me. Like, why am I doing this? Like, so don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying like I figured it all out, but it's
Right.
definitely, I've made progress because of that. And that's the beauty of why I feel more empowered to talk about it and to kind of express with other people, just kind of, you know, maybe we've related in that kind of sense or not, like,
Mhm.
makes people more comfortable to talk about it and to identify some maybe inner things that need to let go or extra weight and baggage, because that's just, I guess, again, what I've been focusing on and worrying about, and
Yeah, I mean, I
making it
think
clear for me to be a happier person, to receive people in their light, in the way that, you know what I mean, when you're grouching your shower, you block your blessings, you block the people's love that love you,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
So
I think it's definitely important to talk about it because, if we're not talking about it, you're just stuck with all that yucky shit, like it really sucks. And then you feel alone, and that's even worse. Who wants to feel alone with all these bad thoughts? Yeah, I mean, I just like when after I graduated and I was working at a restaurant, I was working at Ruth Chris, and then I was working at a UPS store, and I was like working at all these jobs, and I was like, what am I doing? I have a degree. Like, what the hell am I doing? I'm over here in Chicago. I'm like trying to figure it out, and I'm like so like looking down on myself. Like I'm like I
because
like you're kind of thinking like you're kind of nothing, right? Um
it feels like you're empty-handed and you have nothing to show for.
exactly. But that's where you have to examine yourself and be like, okay, what are you worth first, right? What are you worth? Figure out what you're worth and what you could do. And then you have to start persevering and pushing yourself, like it's easier said than done. Trust me, it's
Absolutely.
easier said than done.
But it's
But
knowing, identifying,
exactly identifying and then, kind of like seeing what works for you. And, it took me a while to decide I wanted to be a teacher. I think I was kind of in denial of it at first because I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna get paid anything."
that's
Like,
it's crazy. I've been wanting to go back to Reardon and to just, work there, but I'm like, I keep telling the administrators I see I'm not ready. Like I need to mess around and be young a little longer. Like, but
mhm.
I know I want to be with kids. Like I want to help students.
Yeah, I never saw myself as a kid person. I'm like, I'm the youngest in my family. I don't really have little kids in my family. Like my sister doesn't have kids, like I'm not around kids a lot. So I was more so like, I love learning and I've always had great teachers in my life. Like we went to school together and we had some great teachers there. I went to Mercy. Now it's shut down, but I went to Mercy and I
I'm in
had,
the last class, my little
I
sister.
know I had some, oh yeah, Carmen is in the last class, huh? I had some amazing teachers there at Mercy. And you know, like, because I had a really, really great English teacher, Mr. Body, shout out if you ever see this, loved you. I I wanted to be an English teacher because of him. I've had such great teachers in my life that I've always wanted to give that back. And I've had teachers where, you know, didn't love them.
Just a check.
I don't, yeah, I don't, like, you know, but like, and then I thought, like, thinking back, like, what did they do that didn't work? That's what I don't want to be. And that's what I'm going to give to my kids. Like, I feel like when kids are in school, they're trying to see somebody that relates to them and connects to them and gets it, you know. And when they don't get it, when teachers don't get it, you're not going to listen, and you're not going to learn, and you're not going to engage in anything, you know. So, and I think that was like the biggest pull for me.
Just finding how to relate, and just meeting your students at that level, that you know, I'm here for you, but I'm not necessarily like your friend, but you know, and finding that balance, because you know, you have people in your life who you love, and who you have under your wing, and you have endearment for them, and you know, you don't want to, you want to guide them in certain ways, but then, you know, you have to let them do their own thing,
Right.
it's you know, for me, my brother and my sister, you know, they're growing up, and I've gotten a lot cooler with just accepting that, you know, like how the world is going to be, and instead of like being more, I guess, like, oh, you know, you know, don't do that, don't do this, don't do this, or don't do that. It's just, you know, I'll be there to receive them if they do, if they don't, like, how did it work? Did it not? Like, you know, did you do it with intent? Like, you know, kind of just,
Exactly.
I've seen it more work now with, instead of telling and just forcing it, it's just like, it's like bumpers. It's just check.
Yeah. And also just not being judgmental either. And like, I mean, it's probably hard because you're their older brother and, you know, you're in your head, you're like, what the fuck are they
Yeah.
doing?
I
But
realize that. No, and it's great because my little brother is getting to the point where he's seeing things that I've told him, like, just, you know, you're gonna see it, like, you're gonna understand. You know, we have a 6-year gap. I have a 5-year gap with my little sister and my little brother, and so they're now, you know, turning 2019, and so it's crazy. It's crazy to say that because we were just there, and
whoa.
you know, I'm halfway to 30.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I'm 25. It's so ridiculous. Like, even looking at like 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds, I'm like, whoa, like it seems like it wasn't that long ago, but when I was 18, I Chicago yet. My life has changed so much since
Hey, so
then.
not only did you, like, you know, take this college route, but you left like miles, and that's a feat, and that's, you know, that's a feat for a lot of things too, and the success story in there, because you and I both left, and not to say that you needed to leave, but you
Mhm.
know, our destiny chose us to leave, you know, California, and do what we needed to do out there and come back. Well, I mean, I've come back now to San Francisco, and I know
Mhm.
you've mentioned that maybe something in down the line for you to move back. But before we get to that, you mentioned, you know, 18 and 19-year-old students. What would you tell your 18-year-old self, or like that you just graduated from Mercy? You know, you're, I guess, about to leave, or kind of, it doesn't even have to be that, just kind of tell me where you'd kind of like go back and be like, hey, I wish somebody would have told me this, or
I
something
mean,
like.
yeah, just what I was saying earlier, you're not going to have the answers right away.
Mm,
And I think as as we're young, we're expected to have, you know, hit these certain goals by a specific age. And, you know, at 18, I thought I was going to do something way different. Had no idea I was going to be a teacher, had no idea I was going to be in Chicago. Um, but I would just say you're not going to have the answers right away. And you're also, you know, don't feel so much pressure, you know. I mean, maybe you could cut that out. I don't really know what I'm saying, but
no, yeah,
like,
just,
like you're not gonna. Yeah,
like,
I don't
you're
know.
not going to necessarily, it's not going to unfold itself for you to see the whole entire finish line right in front of you. And that's
Exactly.
the biggest issue too, because if I couldn't see the finish line
Yeah.
right away, or in hindsight, like, I'm just like, I don't know if I want to do that or go, because we haven't necessarily trusted a process. We were kind of just
Yeah.
pushed along,
Yeah, and I think, yeah, like I'm just so used to, like, okay, I completed this grade. I just gotta do my homework, do, what I
But
gotta
for
do to
yourself,
succeed. Yeah, but like I'm not thinking about what Celia wants. You feel, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not thinking about what I want or what I need. And I think that's what I would say. Like think about what you want first before
and
you
that's so
hop into
important,
anything.
so important because I didn't even have that myself either, and it's been taking until now to kind of just like, okay, what does Eric feed into, or what does Eric need to keep going to make sure I'm happy to, or at least focused and ready for whatever it is that I have to do, because it's going to be heavier, the days are going to get heavier than the other, and
Mhm.
but I think that's when it goes down to like feeding your or strengthening your brain along with your body and getting all that, definitely taking strides into all that. So I'm not here to sit down and be like I'm an instructor or financial advisor or a therapist
Right.
or a nutritionist, but it's just like what the shit that's been in my life and a parent, and the same things that trip me up, I'm trying to not get tripped up by or learn, you know what I mean, like how we were talking about, just kind of breaking old habits and
Yeah.
starting better ones, because I want to be here for a long time, but a happy time in that longevity
Yeah.
time.
And I think also too, just kind of, because I'm also kind of just thinking about that question again. Um, just like being true to yourself too. Like I came to Chicago, it's 2,000 miles away, this 18-year-old gay San Franciscan. I was dressing in snapbacks and baggy jeans at the time. And it was just like, and then I was having people like, oh, you could tell you're from California, but kind of like in a negative way.
Yeah,
And
like yeah.
yeah, and I was just kind of like,
Bay Area kids are
oh,
very different. We're very, very
they're so different. They're so
we
different.
breathe.
And like, we're always gonna tell you we're from the Bay. And people like are just like, okay, like I don't know. It's
They
just,
don't know.
yeah, it was
They
just
will know.
so weird.
They will
It was,
know.
yeah, it was just so weird. Like when I would meet people from the Bay that would be out like going to DePaul and stuff, and they just wouldn't be as excited as me. I'm like, what's wrong with you?
I
There's
wasn't
only one person I met that was like equally as excited as me.
I wasn't in Arizona. Like I was DJing a lot for house parties, and then I got to DJ for the Phoenix Suns, their effing lounge, which was super super fun. And but like when I be playing music and the parties and it's Bay Area music, luckily I did have some Bay Area kids or just outside of the Bay Area kids who were familiar with the music. So
Right.
then we
Yeah.
have that little group of people who was like, I was like, yeah, that's my people right there. And then there's other kids who are just like, what is this? Like
Yeah.
we're just kind
And
of like,
they're,
all right,
yeah.
telling me to play. Can you play some like Tiesto or something? Or like what I like, don't get me wrong, I love all music. But at the moment we're listening to Mac Dre and stuff, I'm like from me going to Mac
Mhm.
Dre and Tiesto, I'm like, give me a sec, give me a sec. Let me get a let me change the BPMs later on or something.
Yeah, I'd be trying to put people on to Mac Dre out here. Like I already got my girlfriend, thank God, loves Bay Area music, or loves West Coast California music, and I'm like, thank God, Jesus.
Already right there.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, I'd be trying to put her on the Mac Dre. Like I'm getting there, but yeah, but Bay Area, man, it's just different, and it was just kind of hard for me to like adapt at first to Chicago because Midwesterners are, they're polite, but like, like they'll be polite to you. They're not going to be rude to you, but they're going to be judging you in their head the whole time. And
Positive, judgmental people.
yeah, they're kind of fake. They're fake as fuck. But it like that, and I was just trying to figure out how to like just
Just
go
maneuver
about
through.
my way, like I'm just like, so do I need to change how I dress? Do I need to change how I speak? Because I was like saying all these Bay Area like slangs. They're like, what are you saying?
I'm
Like,
glad that you thought about that, because myself, do I conform to the environment, or do I still be me, but like stand for me, like everything.
right, yeah, and it's been like, like I had to adapt a little bit. I'm not over here like with baggy ass pants anymore and snapbacks, but like I you have to find out who you still are. And like, I'm always going to be from San Francisco, California. I'm always going to, like, that's
Oh,
always going to be a part of my identity, even though I sometimes don't just want to be labeled as that,
mhm.
you know, because I know a lot of people, like, a lot of my friends here, they'll be like, they'll just identify me as somebody that's from California. I'm like, yes, I am that, but I'm more than that as well.
Yeah, like that's the tip of the iceberg. Like just hold on.
Yeah,
Like you don't even give me a chance to like not even change your mind, but like blow your mind. Like give
exactly,
me a second.
exactly, exactly. So, you know, man, like,
What's been like the best thing about Chicago for you? Like I've been wanting to go to that like glass viewing, like that.
oh yeah,
Yeah, what's it called?
the whatchamacallit, what is that? Not
Yeah,
Sears.
yeah.
That's Sears, right? No, I don't know. She don't know. But yeah, no, I've been there. I've been there. Willits. It's not Sears. It's Willits now. Willis Tower. It's dope. It's scary, but it's dope.
I just love
Um,
that kind of stuff. Like,
yeah, no, Chicago's really like really cool, and especially cool. It's dope artistically too. Like it really is. I'm grateful to have like some friends here that dabble into artistic stuff. I remember my freshman year, my roommate did a short film, and I helped him out with that. Like
awesome.
that, yeah, that part has been really cool. Like
I need you to come
I
home. I need you to move back. I need your help. I need you now. Now that I know that
yeah,
you're
man. Like I love music, and I love I love movies. Like I've always been a huge movie fan. Like
what's your favorite movie?
I have a lot. If
Top
we're
three.
going, um,
Last day on like your last time to watch them. Top three.
okay, it's gonna be kind of cheesy. So we're gonna do Sound of Music because I love musicals and I grew up on that. Do the Right Thing, Spike Lee, and if we're gonna go with the third one, I have so many.
I'll be comfortable.
Let's go with American Beauty.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a really like specific like movie taste. Like
That's what I
I
like though, that you have like when I asked, you know, you had something. You're like, I know.
I have like a whole list, but yeah, those are my top three, I guess. They'll probably change tomorrow, but
I
yeah.
think I think on Sunday I said because my uncle asked me this. He said top three movies. You're on an island. What are you taking? Or he also asked me top three albums. I couldn't even give him an answer for that.
I couldn't give you top three
That's
albums.
so
That's
hard.
so
That is
many.
so hard. But for the movies, I think I was like Pulp Fiction, A Bronx Tale, and what else? What was my third one? I'm blanking out. It's obviously not that great if I can. Well, honestly, it's not a movie, but I'll take the whole Sopranos episode.
Okay, no, that works.
Like,
I was gonna guess Goodfellas because you were
I
already.
was gonna say that, but then like I was like, it's so hard. I've just finished Sopranos, and like that's been
It's my parents' favorite show. They've always
oh
loved
my
it.
goodness.
I've only watched like the first two seasons. I know it's so good, and it is really good. I just never finished it,
It's
but
so fantastic. So like the artwork, the just the art, like everything that they did was like I think it's still so good now for that reason. Like it's that of that magnitude, like just the art, like the executive producing to the shots, the images, the camera moving, how they make you think. And it kind of honestly inspired me, I feel like, to do a little bit of just my, like, I'm telling you, I want to do something with, I feel like Chrissy, like, oh, I'm going to write a movie. Like, like one of the characters, he's like, I want to write movies.
yeah, like I when I do write, like I write movie scripts, and like I do try to. I don't really say I ever finish them, but I do try to. And a lot of the times where I write, I'm always writing with San Francisco in my mind.
I want to plant a seed in your head right now for a story.
Mhm.
San Francisco Hispanic gangster, like just like our twist to just the mafioso, but also like a brown kid in the city. Like
That'd be raw. And I think too, like with San Francisco and like film, like for the longest time it's only been like, touristy spots like the bridge and
yeah, of
cable
course.
cars and
You're
you know
39, the war.
yeah, like and like I've like if I'm not gonna say I'm a filmmaker or anything, but like if I do write, I'm gonna write with what I know in mind.
Right.
So my neighborhood, the Excelsior, the Mission, like neighborhoods that aren't seen at all, and or like the Bayview, like just all these neighborhoods that like I grew up around, I grew up in. It's not seen, and I think it's so important to highlight those.
I think we're like at that perfect moment in time where we're all realizing. And it's funny, as I've been, talking to more amazing people like yourself, I've been seeing what everyone's kind of into and they're passionate, and kind of seeing how I was joking with I was with Tommy and Tommy Orpeza, and he's actually somebody who's been motivating me to do this more. And he I'm forgetting where I'm going with this, but oh, we're building unofficially like a team. People have been now seeing what I've been on, and I've been seeing what they've been on, and it's kind of like, oh, how I've talked to people like, oh, I've also wanted to do something like that, like just so getting that reaction, that feedback from the work that's being done. It's like, okay, people now, they're on the not the same wave, but like we were thinking the same, and now we've confirmed it. So let's get together and do something. So
Nice.
it's been really fun to kind of just, and like now here with, obviously you got your things going on, but that's something I definitely would love to, if you'd ever want to take a dabble into again, or when you move back home, if you move back home.
I mean, I would definitely hit you up because yeah, I do want to do some, like I'm gonna teach and I want to teach. I'm going, I have my whole career set out for that, but like I also need a passion too,
Yeah.
and
Do
and
that
and and,
awesome
and it's
teacher.
important, and I think that's another thing too. Like just because you have this 9 to 5 job or whatever, you could always pursue what you love on the side. Just
Exactly.
make your money first, dude. Don't give up your dream.
Fund
Like,
your dream.
yeah, fund your dream.
Fund your
Exactly.
dream. Figure out what it's costing. But it's funny that
Exactly.
you say that too, because I'm understanding that too. Like just being with the confidence and the belief, and also just with the current job, like it's feeding my lifestyle, but also with the passion that may turn into what is the next thing that will provide money for me, or financial stability. But
Mhm.
until then, best believe I'm knocking away at that office behind me, or the desk, like taking care as much as I can. But I know I'm just agree wholeheartedly, like taking care of your business so that you can take care of yourself and your dreams and things like that.
Exactly, man. Yeah.
How's the food been for you in Chicago? Do you
Oh,
miss
it's
the food over here?
no. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do miss some things in the city for sure. Like, I mean, I'm sad Roxy's has closed down. I can't lie. The thing I miss the most about San Francisco food is the sandwiches and the bread. The sandwiches out here aren't like that at all. So I do miss the sandwiches a lot, and I do miss my
The
sourdough bread.
deli, the deli.
Yeah, yeah, no, dead ass. Like, there's no Dutch crunch out here. Like, it's weird.
That's
There's no
weird.
Dutch.
I never thought that.
Yeah, there's no Dutch crunch. My girl came out twice with me, and she was like, "What's Dutch crunch?" I'm like, "Oh, it's so good." Like,
Bro,
dude.
I know hella random, but like I like random facts, and I'm a fucking nerd sometimes. But it's just rice paste on top of bread. Do you know that?
Really?
Dutch crunch is rice paste that's like baked in, so it gives that crunch, that crackle.
So they like brush it on?
It's just rice paste. Yeah. I was like, what makes this taste so good? Like, what is Dutch crunch?
Hmm. I'm
Rice
gonna.
or
Did you look at a YouTube video or something? Because I'm gonna look
don't
at
call me
that.
though. But that's what I
Okay.
thought. I'll double check, but that's what I ended up
Okay,
hearing.
I'm gonna look that up. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
Great.
to answer your question, no, there's some really good food out here. Like, there's good, I mean, pizza. I don't know if you like deep dish,
That
but
there's this spot that it's like obviously the pie.
is it Giordano's?
It may be, but it's like one fat ass.
Yeah, they're either Giordano's or
Looks like a pot
Illuminati.
pie. Looks like a big
Yeah, yeah, it's the deep dish.
ooh,
It's
looks
okay.
amazing.
Yeah, it's good. I personally just like thin crust, like traditional
Okay.
pizza. But like pizza's good, pasta's good. They got Harold's out here. Harold
Okay,
is
I've been
out
wanting to
here.
try that. I've been hearing.
Yeah,
I've heard
Harold's is popping. I can't
that.
lie.
That's where it's at for real, for real.
Yeah, Harold's is pretty good. There's certain spots like of Harold's that are better than others, but Harold's is good. Yeah, there's just a lot of good food out here. Like I'm always out eating, like on some fat shit, but I really like because the food is so good. I can't even lie about that.
What's been your favorite spot so far? Like have to go, besides Harold's, like
If I'm like recommending and you have to go, let's think about this.
yeah, it's some rice flour and sugar. Going back to the
Oh, it is. You look it up.
like you said, they just brushed it on the top.
They brushed it on, yeah. My favorite spot to eat, I don't know, man. Like I have so like I don't really go out as much anymore as I used to, but like if I had to like to recommend one spot, I'd probably recommend like a good taco spot or something. Like there's some really good Mexican food in Chicago because the Mexican population here is like it's really high. So I'd probably just recommend like some like good taco spot like down south or something because that's where it's at.
So check this out, right? I've been a fan just of Chicago because of their music since 2010, and
Who do you like?
oh man, see, okay, well, we were like on the football team listening to like when like all right, this is who this was like when Four Famous Dex was in famous. I feel like Famous Dex.
Yeah, when he was like in drill.
Like, oh my, not what's who
Not Lil Durk.
no, it wasn't Dirk. I mean, he was like there, but
Yeah.
Billionaire Black in them. And
Billionaire Black, yeah, like
oh my god,
guy that's
also arrogant.
Duke the Beast.
TJ,
You remember Duke the Beast?
I think so.
Yeah, like he was like with Billionaire Black and all of them. But yeah.
No, they had some like I remember we were just drill music, like or just even like people coming out of Chicago was just really hot. Like
yeah.
Our football team
that was the time.
We had like a 5-way splitter.
Peak era.
Yeah, we had like a 5-way splitter, so 5 people could hear the headphones.
Oh, that's cool.
We were bumping like on the way to football, like our games. Like, yeah. And then they got to Dirk started popping, and Chief Keef blew up, and like I Don't Like was just on the bus ride all day, every day. Like
yeah, Chief Keef goes crazy here. If you're at like a party or a function, oh my god, people.
I'm trying to see like
people be going crazy.
I'm trying to see what like Chicago, like these roofs that collapse. I don't want to be at one of those. These little.
Oh my god! I remember being in college and like when people would do that, especially to like Love Sosa or like any Chief Keef song. I'm like, or Finito. Oh my god! I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna break, and this is my biggest fear that we're all gonna die, and this is the floor is gonna break. Because you feel it like bend.
It's crazy. See, like I would not know, and I mean we just had house parties, but like college parties too. But like we put like maybe 200-300 people in our house. We had a stage inside. Like it was a big house, but I mean never
a huge house.
Maybe like 100 to 200. Like we had a clicker, so we did it a couple times, so we knew like we were putting numbers up like. It became kind of a business for us. Our own, like
at that point you just charge $5 at the door or something. Like
the thing is, we weren't even charged. Like we charged maybe twice because we were just short on rent. But like we would supply like gallons of jungle juice, drinks, music. Like we would just have the spot, and everybody was cool. We even had like homies who were security. Like and then one of our roommates ended up being a security guard as well. So like it was kind of natural. I was like, I'm at home, just doing my thing, guarding my house, like just having a good time at the party.
Yeah.
So, definitely we had those like house parties, but I never really got to see anything crazy like that. Like
yeah, like I've been to a few parties out here where they've been gigging. Like
we don't have house parties like that in SF. Like we're on top of each other. How somebody's gonna shut us down? Like
yeah, especially if you're like not in the city, for like somewhere like like Daly City or South City, like you're definitely being shut down.
Like good try, right? Like
you tried.
Like the neighbor next door is not gonna let you slide.
No, for sure. But yeah, no, it's been a ride out here. I'll tell you that. Like, if you were to ask me 7 years ago, like, if imagine like yourself in 7 years, I could not. I don't even think I could. I don't think I would tell you I'd be a teacher. I don't think I would tell you I'd still be out here in Chicago. I don't even think I'd own a dog, like my own dog. Like that itself is a responsibility. But it's like, you just have to trust yourself and just trust the process. Just trust life, dude.
Trust yourself first. Trust life. Like, and obviously that's the goal. That's the progression people want to make and we want to get to. But I think it never stops. Like as I've been feeling better and better about everything that's been going on with what I've been doing, it kind of has been building up, and it's good to know that, like, it builds up and it doesn't stay stagnant, and
Mm-hmm.
versus like how we're really low and we got low and low and low. I mean, it could get lower, but then you plateau too at the bottom, and then you're just like,
Yeah.
it's time to get out of the hole. Like, all right, go sit in the hole, but get out. Like, get the hell out.
Right.
Like, go take your
Right.
time, go do your shit. Like, go through your emotions, process them, feel them, acknowledge them, and then pick
And,
yourself back up.
and do something about it too. Like even if you feel like you can't, or you have all these other like factors weighing on you, like, or get a support system, have like push yourself to do it, but yeah.
It's no, it's absolutely, it's rough, but until you get that like gleam of light at the end of the tunnel and you're starting to see, I swear it's a different feeling. It's how do you say, it's contagious.
Hmm.
Like, you just want to keep going forward, and getting a little taste of that's been helping me, and to do this, to be able to come out and speak to amazing people like yourself, and who really have a real life perspective, just from the city, from the Bay Area, who somebody who's gone and experienced another part of the world, but also has SF to always come back to, and that's important. And I want kids who see this in the neighborhood, go explore the world. Like, if it's your turn to come back, you'll come back. Home is, like you said, home is where the heart is, and San
Hmm.
Francisco will always be your home, and will always, you know what I mean, like, no, without
Definitely.
question. Like, it's also great that you're able to adapt and make Chicago another home for you, because
For sure, yeah.
it's
um
it's crazy.
no, it is, yeah. Like I met so many remarkable people here that have changed my life, honestly. Like I've met so many great friends here that have helped me grow as a person. I've met, my girlfriend I've been with for almost 3 years, and also additionally helped me grow in another way. And it's just, it is like, even though I have my bouts with Chicago for sure, I do will always have a soft spot for it, and that will never change.
That's how I felt about Arizona at first. I was like, like, this will never grow on me. And then when I like left, I'm like, you know what? It grew on me, because it reminds me of like the shit that I went through, and like the desert. Like, I had to go through the desert to come back to the water, like through to the West Coast, like almost like a.
Yeah.
And just going back to traveling outside of your comfort zone, it really puts us in the seat. I wouldn't say the same exact seat, but a similar vehicle to get where we need to go. Like my grandparents who immigrated here, like, or
Mhm.
just people's parents or families who immigrated or migrated throughout the U.S. to the U.S. Like, they packed their shit up and left, and not just necessarily for like our case. We were fortunate enough to have the opportunity to go to school,
Mhm.
study abroad or outside the state. But I
Mhm.
think about like how when I was sitting there moping around, like, oh, I was wanting to come back. Like, my grandparents came here and never looked back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and not to make it like sound super heavy, but
Right.
like, for real, like, I'm like, I have no excuse to bullshit or
Mhm.
bitch about anything, because my grandparents have completed the story and they live a beautiful, humble life. And not to say that it's the same time zones, like, or the same time frame, but a lot of what they do is just well disciplined. And I mean, you look at your grandparents or older people, or just anybody who's kind of been around the rodeo long enough to kind of see what works. And you see, you know what I mean, you see who's
Yeah.
who. And I know I want to be moving and jumping and running around like as much as I can. Like,
As you're still
you
here.
really
Yeah.
see, I really start to see down the line. I'm trying to think of, okay, if I'm 25 now, what would it be like if I sat and it's 45? Like, what do I need to do right now? But I mean, that's just how I think. I'm a 10 step ahead thinker, or I try to be. Like, I'm a overthinker. Like, that's just in my nature.
Right.
So
I mean, but I mean, but that's good though that you do think about that, because there are people that live in the moment, and sometimes I think I kind of get caught up in that a little bit, where you're just thinking about what's good right now in the moment, like, okay, is work okay? I'm happy at work. Okay. How is everything at home? Okay, we're cool here. And I think sometimes, people could just get kind of stuck in that a little bit too. So it's good that
it
you
usually
think ahead.
fizzles, not fizzles, but I feel like, I don't know, in the turning points of your life, there's always like a pressure or a squeeze, whether to do something or not, but you still do or don't, and then
Mhm.
you get an outcome.
Mhm.
So it's I'm glad you said that, because it really just depends on what it is, what you do with your time, and the outcome that you choose. um you're almost like cooking your own recipe for success, almost,
Yeah,
like,
definitely. I mean, you are the you are responsible for your own success ultimately. I was trying to use a better like metaphor and analogy, but it didn't come out right. You are responsible for your own success, and
absolutely,
that's it.
absolutely.
I'm over here trying to drink my.
Yeah, no, please.
No, it's leaking. Oh. Mm.
It just makes me really happy to talk to you and hear how you're doing, because I really, I know we haven't spoken in a while, but it's always been kind of just like love from a distance, and I'm glad that we,
Always, always, like
build this relationship.
anybody I grew up with, especially like from Epiphany, it's always 150% love. Like we grew up together, like never a bad word or anything to say, like always love.
And I just remember how your family's always accepted, me with open arms, and you know, RIP to some of the family we've lost now, but
Yeah.
they've held special places, not only to you, but your grandfather, your parents, like there's somebody we see with an open heart, and like I still see your mom sometimes on the BART, like, or I had seen her, and I always said hello, and it just makes
Yeah.
me feel good, like, all right, cool, like she's seen me grow up, she's seen you grow up, like, and at
Yeah.
least,
Like,
it almost makes me feel like, I want to make them proud too, like,
no,
like you've
definitely.
seen us
Like
all grow up.
it's just, and it's moving too, in a sense, when you do see everyone you grew up with and they're doing their thing, like we're all adults. It's kind of surreal in a sense. Like it's like, well, we're all grown. Like we're all, you know,
Well,
9 to 5
well,
jobs, college graduates, married, kids, whatever it may be for anybody. But still, like it's weird.
yeah, quote unquote. But and it's fantastic, because I was just with um, Alejandro Santos the other day, and I hadn't talked to him for a long time, and he's a father now of a beautiful young girl, and it's crazy because also my cousin is also has a 2 or 3 year old daughter, and we've been growing up with young fathers around, and just seeing how the maturity level has, and then not to say that everyone just matures because of children or whatnot, but to see how their story and how they've been attacking life and welcoming in the new chapters of life and fatherhood. Because I asked him straight up, I was like, hey, like eventually, God willing, like I hope I have children, and healthy children, that, and I had to ask some questions like, hey, like I know you're a young father, but like this is how I go about with people now. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna ask you a question. I don't know if it's gonna be like how you want to take it, but take it with a grain of salt. But I want to know because I want to be a better person. So I
Hmm.
start with that, and then they kind of like, all right, what's he about to ask me? But then I'll ask them like, how do you know like when it's right to do this, or like,
Right.
because I don't have these conversations with necessarily grown men around me, and the grown men around me sometimes have a lot of insecurity, or I just wouldn't feel as comfortable. But being able to, and that's why I thanked Alejandro. I was like, thank you with open arms, like for being able to bring this up in the conversation and be kind of like a safe place for that, and that's all it is, and Alejandro kind of explained this in a way where the order of life happens out of order, like, and what basically he was saying, you know, things could have happened earlier or later, but it's always going to happen in the time that it takes to happen.
Mhm.
And he's like, me, you know, I was blessed with my child early on, like, and he's like, this is like the best things, you know, that's happened. And
Yeah.
so hearing that is just like so, like, you know, right on. Like he's like, Eric, you know, you're, to me, to everyone who's there, he's like, you know, you can be a father. You can be, like, we've been raised with the morals and the rights and the
Mhm.
wrongs to, like, you know, you just need to, you can, you know what I mean, like, you can do it. Not
Yeah.
to say that like I couldn't, but you know, it was very humbling, and very, like, I was very appreciative of, like, the knowledge he was able to pass down. And we're the same, you know, like, we grew up together, so it's not like he's older or younger necessarily, but to be able to, you know, I want to be able to someone who can receive the game that people kick, regardless of, like, they're younger or older, because I don't want to be a sucker, I don't want to be a hater, I don't want to be, you know, just an OG that's like, oh, because I couldn't figure this out, like, you know, I can't talk about it because I'm insecure about it. But you know, it just, it's learning how to be like, be a human being, and walk with your faults, and walk with your accomplishments, but also
And
I'm
then
not
owning
too
them
proud to
too.
be like, Celia, I fucked up, but, like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm still trying, like,
Yeah, and then just owning your mistakes and owning, your faults and knowing what your faults are and, you know,
like, I
just
feel like people apologize and said, I'm sorry that I did this or said this in the way that I did this, but I actually want to learn to be better. Like, I feel if people were to step back or normalize, like, not cutting off people's head or chopping and attacking someone because they really just miseducated or ignorant.
yeah, and I think that's a problem with
It's
what
a
we
big
have
ass
going
problem.
on, like this cancel culture shit. It's like the way I see it,
Teach
it's like
somebody. Teach somebody.
people are human beings and that everyone makes a fucking mistake. No one's perfect. No one is. I mean, there are things that are worse than others, but like when it's like little shit, like stupid shit that people cancel celebrities for, it's like, dude, really? That's what we're tripping about is this?
Right.
Like this is what we're all mad about. This. Okay. Like I
These are
don't know,
some of
it's
the
frivolous.
things.
It's frivolous. It's just it doesn't make sense.
I
And
feel like
it's
we
not
have too
that it
much
doesn't
time
make
on our
sense.
hands to be even tripping about somebody else. Like,
Yeah.
you know, don't get me wrong. Like, I like, you know, the social media outlets. Like, I keep up with the music industry, and that's always enticing to me, you know. But not when, like, you know, Reese and them are just getting blown up or messed up, and, like, you know, not to say that, like, oh, great, like, that's what I want to see, but, like, shit like that gets put out, and in a perspective where, look at this way, but not how it unfolded really. And obviously, you know, shit's not always what it seems,
Mhm.
and been
That's
slowly seeing that, like, nothing's what it seems. This
no,
is
it's not.
the world we live in.
And also like everyone has their own shit going on. And that's a thing I've learned too. Like, comparing myself to people and all that stuff. Like I've learned that everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own stuff that they hold with them. They're insecure about something, they're mad about something, they're like worried about something. They all have their own thing going on. You know, it's not healthy that not it's not healthy, that's the lack of a better word, but it's not uh it's just doesn't work out if you try to model yourself from those people.
Gotcha, gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think. Well, let me know, because I don't want to just agree with you and be like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, let me know if what you're getting at is kind of just being okay with yourself and the things that you do.
Yeah,
Like, owning your decisions, owning your choices. Like, you know, walk to the beat of your drum, but be happy. And if it don't work, you gotta tell yourself, like, am I gonna be the best? Like, whatever it is that I'm doing, then I'm gonna do it all the way. Be intentful, I guess, with what you do.
be intentful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, do with intention. So that's something, you know. My first boss at my first job, like, not first, I guess first full time out of college. Yeah, I
Mhm.
was working student admissions counseling, and then I already had a job as soon as I walked off the stage, because, you know, I was just I worked in the school and I was like, hey, I want to do admissions with you guys. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it was a high paying job at the time. It was great. Like I got to travel. Then I just realized it wasn't even for me. Like it was just not for me. Like I was burnt out thinking this is where I needed to go. And like, you know, I just burnt out there and I came back home and to really find out like, you know, that necessarily wasn't for me, but.
Right. No, totally. Man, we've been talking about a lot of heavy stuff.
This is you know, this is great, and it's we can go, like I said, with whatever you want to talk about, because it's for me it's important that, you know, your time is valuable, and the stuff that, you know, we should be like recognizing or talking about, or just even if you know, have any words or shout outs to anybody back home, like, you know what I mean, like this is a
Coming back soon, guys.
how,
um,
how soon were you talking about?
I hope in the next couple of years, like in the next 1 to 2 years, we got to see. But that's the aim.
I know I
I'm
want to
so
come see you before then though.
yeah, you definitely come out to Chicago. We'll have a good time. I'll show you around.
Yeah,
Like, come out. Yeah, come out for sure. And it's fun in the summer. So if you want to come in the summer, end of the summer, I'm here. Um, but obviously, if I touch down back in the city,
oh yeah,
we'll,
no, for sure, just yeah,
we'll
like,
but I guess just one thing I want to say is that, you know, even though San Francisco is changing, to whoever who's watching this from the city, even though San Francisco is changing, that's still our city. Just know what it is. Like that's always going to be our city. Um, no hate to any transplants. If you love the city too, we love you. But the city's going to be the city, and even though it changes, it's still going to be ours.
it's funny that you mentioned that, because like I've been hearing from different people just at work, at like home, personal, like whoever it is, whatever stream of people or pool, but that the city has no identity kind of right now, like, or
It
it's
doesn't. It doesn't. And it.
kind of just like
Yeah.
besides the locals who talk about, you know, what's like what we
Right.
lack in or know what we're not. It's just what COVID took a lot of people
Yeah.
away.
It did. And it just it's weird to see every time coming back because I'll be away for like 9-10 months at a time, and I'll come back and I'm just like, even in our own neighborhood, I'll just be like, what's this? That's new.
There's a
uh
Circle K
that's
that
never
like it's
yeah,
not
that's
you
never been
said
there
about it, but
before.
this
Like,
apartment building on like on Geneva and
are you talking about
across the street from Walgreens.
oh yes, yeah. I thought you were talking about kind of by the couch, by kind of by you,
Oh,
by the
they just one,
yeah.
two, three,
Oh yeah,
four,
that whole like yeah, and that build. Are you talking about the apartment building on Geneva across from the gas station? The new like I don't know, but there's some new
oh
stuff.
yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's just some new stuff going on. I know the Excelsior's next. That was the last on the gentrified list, and it's next.
And it's funny because I've been talking to other kids we know from the neighborhood who went to Tiffany, and they're just like, which is actually shout out to Sam Mercado. He put out an album. I'll basically talking. I believe it's called Phantom on the Curb. Let me double check, so I don't want to do him like that. But anyways, he speaks some quality. I guess it has some quality bars on Excelsior and the gentrification, and it's something that I want him to keep pursuing. Obviously, he's going to keep pursuing. He's fantastic, but
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of him now, and I don't want to push that because he's speaking some real truth, and it's actually
Okay. Yeah. I seen you post that family.
yeah. And
Yeah.
man, listen to Sunset. He's gonna drop a music video soon, but
Okay. Cool. I'll check it out.
he's talking about just the neighborhood. He grew up in the neighborhood. He went to Epiphany, and it's just it's awesome to hear.
That's Tommy's cousin, isn't it?
Yeah, it is Tommy's cousin, Tommy and Ramon's cousin, and
Okay. That's yeah. That's what I thought.
it's really cool to hear, you know, what he's got going on. And look, like how you said, it's our neighborhood, our city. Well, I feel like the stars are aligning. Timing is telling like what everyone's been doing and good at, and now we can kind of put this, you know, the players in action and see what we really could shake up out here. Like, I really want to get something going as far as I don't, you know, let's just shake something up. Like we can put all of us together, who's from the city, from the neighborhood, do whatever it is. That's what I'm saying. No one has to be left out because everyone plays a role. Like there's a role for everyone. It's just learning how to first do your role, and if you want to change roles, get better at the next role. Like, You know, everyone has a place to start and to improve from. So, and that's what I've been trying to get more people on board with. Like, I want to do some more events, but I want, like, you know, Hav doing the Lumpia, Sammy perform. Like, I want to put all of us like on a
Yeah,
platform.
what you need to do is a block party. You need to do like a block party like Crocker or something. That would be dope.
Yes,
If you
I
did,
want
you
to
got
do
like a
tournaments and stuff.
like a good couple blocks, and you had like a festival like booths, like people like selling like stuff, food,
COVID
or
is kind of getting not necessarily over, but things are obviously open back up here, and as of yesterday, I believe. But
yeah,
today was the first time I walked outside, and there's no mask like that. But I was still wearing mine. I have my first dose, but I'm
no,
still like.
yeah, there's people. I'm all vaccinated, but there's people like in Chicago, like by my job and stuff, because my job is like it's really like it's kind of a wealthy neighborhood and stuff. So I walk into like the Walgreens and like there's like people that are not wearing masks. I mean, you don't have to,
Right.
but like I don't know, be
Yeah,
considerate.
when I went to San Antonio like a month or two ago, it was just the signs in Texas were like, you can wear your mask if you want. Like, it's your life. Like, they were really like, well, you know, up to you.
We ain't mad if you don't.
Yeah, I ain't mad at you kind of thing, but you know, because I was over here taking it off, and I was like, is this cool out here? And then I was like, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I try to like pass by with it under my nose a little bit. I'm like, it's hot. Let me just try to do that. There's people out here that are not wearing no mask.
It was hot today, and I was standing outside just in line.
Oh, I bet. It's been pretty hot out here.
So kind of going down to the end of things here, I just had one more question for you. What was there any like positives for you and during COVID, or any like negatives that turned into positives, or anything you took away from COVID? Just being, I guess, in the state that it's been. Like, I know fortunately some people kept their jobs and some people didn't, but
yeah, I think just kind of knowing what I want and knowing, like, so when COVID hit, I was in my second semester of getting my master's, so it switched online. I was still working at a UPS store, and I wasn't happy there before COVID hit, and I was unhappier after it hit. So it was just kind of like taking charge of like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. I know I don't want to do this anymore. Let's start pursuing what I'm trying to do. So as COVID hit, I had all this free time on my hands. I was applying to all these different schools, like high schools, preschools, anything to get any classroom experience, essentially. And there was a couple of misses, but I finally landed at this job at the preschool I'm working at now, and it's honestly the best job of my life. So, and I know it's so like, it's unfortunate that there's people that have lost their jobs, and I'm just blessed that I found a really good job in the midst of the pandemic. And we didn't have to, we weren't teaching remote. We were actually going in.
Oh, wow.
So I was going in, starting in August. I've been going in since August, actually. Wow. Yeah.
That's something I actually wanted to ask you, but I'm glad that you.
Yeah. So I've been doing it in person.
And
yeah. Oh, so I'm sorry. I'm cutting you off. What were you saying?
No, I agree. I was just saying that I had friends who were teaching online, but the fact that you were in class, like, I haven't had, I guess, had this conversation with somebody about who's still teaching during.
Yeah, and so this was my first year actually being a teacher at doing something. So I was an assistant teacher. It's a team of 5 of us, and all of us stayed throughout the school year. Like, every other classroom has lost teachers. Like, we've lost a lot of teachers because it's just been a really hard year to teach. But all our team is still there, our original team. So that just kind of speaks on our team. I work with 2 teachers that have been there for 20 years combined. So that's just been a really like good learning experience right there. And then we also have 2 teachers in the afternoon. But yes, we've been going in every day since August. And I'm working with they're turning 2. All of our kids are now 2. We have one girl, she's the last one to turn 2. But they're all 2-year-olds. It's Jewish preschool, so we're basing around like Jewish holidays. So it's kind of like how, going to Catholic school, you're basing around Catholic holidays. It's kind of like the same thing, but just Jewish.
No, for
Um,
sure. For sure.
yeah.
Respectful.
So it's definitely been a learning experience. I know I've been kind of repeating that a lot, but
What is life though? What is
what's that?
what is life? Learning experience.
What exactly? What is life?
You're on
Um,
perfect. You're right on it. Don't worry.
yeah, but yeah, so like I know like I haven't had any experience beforehand, so I don't know what to compare it to. So I'm literally in the trenches teaching in a pandemic, you know. I
That's something like I said, like worth listening to because who's talking about this aside from your industry or just your coworkers and
right.
peers, but like on a bigger scale, just so for people at home to kind of know at least, oh, this is what's going on over there with Celia, as far as
Mhm.
respectively what's
Right.
going on with you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it's been interesting because like I mentioned before, I haven't really had experience with kids. And
Especially
this is
3-year-old kids.
this has just taught me a lot. Like, but I love it. I love it so much. Like I love each and every kid that I have in my class. We have a class of 12, and it's kind of a lot. We started with 11, and now we have 12. We got a 12th one in January, but like it's a lot of kids for a pandemic, and they didn't have to wear a mask at the time. We all had to wear a mask, obviously, um, but they didn't, and yeah, just kind of like I've just been learning like how to deal with the parents and how to collaborate with my team and just kind of how to create like a lesson plan is even too. And the thing is like we're a regio school, which means we have to base our curriculum on what the kids want, like what the kids are interested in. So it's not like we have this curriculum already set up, like they need to learn letters, colors, this, and that. We base it around what they want to do, like and what they're interested in. So let's say if they're interested in like garbage trucks, then we'll like yeah, or let's say they're interested about chickens, like some, what I mean, something random like that. We'll base it around that.
Very interesting how that curriculum comes out, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious.
And we do it, and we do it week by week. So we don't plan it ahead. We do it like week by week. And yeah, so I have a great team like with me. Like we all provide something to the classroom, and I think it's just been a really like I'm always excited to go to work. I am, even though sometimes like I have to wake up early. I'm like, I want to go to work. I have to wake up early. But when I'm there though, I'm like, okay, it's fine because I'm with the kids. And,
Yeah.
they're a good time. So it it's been a really really fun ride, and that's why I'm staying another school year. But I know it's going to be different because I am going to teach high school, and that's just a whole different thing. But I think I'll be okay.
I think you'd be an amazing teacher. I
Yeah.
definitely like would want to like I can't wait to see that to have you in there. I want to be a guest speaker. Like I like I want to be like at least you can have like friends who will come in and be like, look, like we're doing things inside a classroom but also outside, like and
Exactly.
that's so important. And I used to knock on it too, the profession, but then I throughout college and tutoring high school students, tutoring college students, being tutored as a college student, but just being around students, it really I loved giving back because I was just there, or I didn't know, or I was looking for help, or a
Mhm.
mentor or a friend, like,
Mhm.
and so many people were there for me. And I was just like, the power of influence to inspire, like that, it's priceless. Like giving a person an opportunity is the greatest thing you can give somebody, like to
Right.
do whatever it is that that's for them. And like someone gave me an opportunity for my job, someone, not necessarily, oh, here, but you do
Yeah.
this, would you be considered doing this? And I was like,
Mhm.
I was hesitant, and here I am 3 years later, like, with the same company, and very grateful for everything they've taught me, because again, this was my first rodeo in this kind of corporate lifestyle, and so I had to learn how the game worked. So the third year now, I'm just like, okay, well, the first year I learned everything not to do. The second year I applied what I needed to do. The third year I'm actually comfortable on the floor without anybody.
Yeah,
So
and I bet it's hard to adapt to that corporate lifestyle because
it's honestly, I don't even care about title. I don't care about none of that. I just want to get this work done. Just pay me when
right,
I don't give.
right. I mean, I think it'd be easy. It was easy for you, even though you probably wouldn't agree. But you're like, you're a good talker and you're charismatic and you know how to handle yourself really well. I
I'm
couldn't.
exploding.
I don't think I could handle that corporate
I'm
lifestyle.
exploding with anxiety and sweating inside, like for the city, and that was fantastic. Like I
That's
honestly just
I like the hate. The hate's a
it's
cool
fantastic.
place. My grandma, my mom's mom, she grew up in the hate and she always like said that was her happiest times and like yeah,
I
it's a
believed it.
beautiful neighborhood. It's a beautiful neighborhood.
The has so much good food. Also, like um, I just like I love the history about it. Like so when I
Yeah,
was there,
I used to work at a t-shirt shop in the Haight, right on the corner of Haight and Ashbury. Actually, there's a t-shirt. There was not there anymore because it closed during the pandemic, but it was right there, and it was cool because I would talk to all these different like tourists coming in and out, and I would like talk to people that are from Chicago, and it was so cool. Like that was dope. That was a dope job. I would
yeah,
like.
that's
I was
actually funny. One time I was there, I actually met somebody from Chicago, and specifically, like I remember the guy. He was like,
yeah
"Yeah, I'm from Chicago." Like, this and that. I'm like, "Oh, like that's." He had some sick, like he had sick ass gear on. Like he had some Nike
yeah
gear on that was like, oh, like, oh, this is, he's like, yeah, yeah, I'm from around here. Like I'm around from around here, blah blah blah.
yeah
Just visiting. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Cause I forgot what I was. I don't know if I was getting food or something, but like I just saw this dude. I was like, hey, I like your jacket. Like shit's hard. And he was like, oh, right on. I was like, oh, where you from? He's like, oh, I'm from Chicago. But I agree. Like the hate has got its gems. Like you can meet so many different people from like a million miles away.
yeah
Fantastic.
definitely like and that's the one thing I do miss about San Francisco, just kind of like you know talking to anybody, like just kind of like striking that conversation with
Friendliness.
yeah the whole like and like Chicago, like it's not necessarily like that. Like you have people that will talk to you here and there, but like it's still like not friendly like that. And I don't know, maybe I'm just so used to like all that friendliness.
No bias.
Yeah, I don't know, like it's funny because like with the homeless population in the city, uh,
It's just adding
I,
up.
it's really bad right now. I seen it when I was there last month. It was really
You
bad.
seen the highways now?
No, I didn't see the
Yeah,
highways.
people are
Oh,
camping
like underneath,
on the
like the tents.
underpasses, but even like just the sides where there's a lot of debris and tree and but which
No, I haven't seen that. I
yeah,
haven't seen
like if
that.
you're going towards like you like you're going up Geneva, you pass Bar and you're making a left to get off Sickles and like that one exit.
Yeah. Mhm. Oh, yes.
Like right
Yes,
there.
yes, 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 yes.
I've seen some people. I'm like, oh man, like I don't like somebody going off and just going into somebody that's just posted right there, like or if a car veers and it
Yeah.
crashes or skids and it's just like
Yeah, no.
for anybody.
It's really bad. But like what I was gonna say was you know, the homeless people in San Francisco will definitely teach you some things. I'll tell you that because when I'm here in Chicago and like I'll tell you, homeless people love talking to me. They love approaching me, and maybe because I will talk back, but I'm not gonna treat them like, "Ooh, get away from me," or because growing up in the city, taking public transportation my entire life, I had to deal with that. I had to deal with experiencing that. So when I'm like in Chicago, my girlfriend will always laugh because she's like, "You really be talking to these homeless people?" I'm like, "Because you have
That's
to
what we
talk."
do. Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to.
I'm like, you have to talk to them because like, yeah, they might be like doing some like crazy stuff or weird stuff or whatever. But if you talk to them and be cool with them, they're gonna leave you alone. And then if they don't leave you alone, then you're just like, bruh, leave me
You give
alone.
them some type of just like genuine like human to human interaction that they may be striving to get. Like
Yeah, yeah. And I think just my California friendliness, I'm just like,
the sunshine.
yeah, I don't know.
Sunshine.
Because yeah, we were waiting, we went to go out to breakfast and it was a long wait like it was a wait, and it was a Sunday morning, of course, and people want to eat out, and it was a nice day. So we're waiting, and we're all outside waiting. There's other people waiting, whatever. And this guy comes, and he's in a wheelchair, and his legs up. My girl's like, he's probably not, probably could walk, but he's kind of like bothering other people and stuff, and like he's like bothering this one group, and then he's going to literally everybody and like talking to them, and I could just tell like on people's faces they're just like uncomfortable.
Deal with it, yeah.
Yeah, they don't want to deal with it, and I get it, right? And so he comes up to us. I'm wearing my Giants jersey, mind you, at the time. I'm wearing my Posey jersey, and he comes up to me. He's like, "What's up, Giant?" And I was like, "What's up, dude?" I was like, "What's going on, bro?" And then he's like talking to us, and then we're talking, like, and my girl's talking to him too, and like he laughed, and my girl was like, I learned a couple things from you. Like, you can't like be like weird, like you kind of like have to talk to them, but not give them too much, but just like be like,
It's honestly that I'm telling you, that like little sprinkle of human interaction that's genuine, to like, look, like, no, I hear you, I'm with you, but
yeah, exactly. Like, and then he left us alone, and he was like, "Take my number down," and we're like, "All right, dude." And so he just gave us his number, but like we didn't write it down or anything, but we're like, "All right, dude." And then he kept going, but eventually, we sat down, and there was a waiter that came out and was like, cause he's like kind of bothering customers, and it doesn't look good for business essentially. And so he comes out, right? And then we're sitting down at this point, and then him and this waiter, like the waiter hits the fucking homeless guy, and mind you, he's got stuff going on. You could tell this guy's mentally ill. Like, you can, because he's not making sense. He's bothering people. You could tell, like,
right.
Not, and the waiter hits him, and then another waiter jumps in, and they jump the guy. Like, they're jumping him, and everyone that's outside eating is watching us, and they're doing it right by the tables. And I'm just like, for real, that's how you handle the situation? And I'm over here screaming at my table, being the advocate that I am. I'm like, he's mentally ill. Why are you jumping him, bruh? Like, and I'm like repeating him, like, he's mentally ill. Stop. Like, you guys are fighting for what? Like, you're fighting a guy that can't barely fucking defend himself. Like, this guy's super skinny. Like, yeah, he could walk because he ended up standing up, but like, dude, what? I was so bothered. Like, I was so bothered. I was like, and like everyone's like looking at me saying like, "Oh, he's mentally ill," like I'm crazy. I'm just like, no, bro, this guy is mentally ill. You're hitting him. You're jumping him. You're not even just hitting him. You're not even exchanging a couple of like punches.
Yeah,
like,
now you're attacking.
He got this guy down, and yeah, that was super like uncomfortable, and it bothered
It's just
me.
another. It's like the experience that you've just shared it's so important, because one, you identified what was going on. Two, you spoke up about it, and you stood for what you believed in, and I think that's, people need to just always stand on that shit. Like, when it's crazy, because this past weekend I was with my brother. We were downtown, and on Saturday morning, we just happened to be like, I think, what were you, like, Mission or Market and Mission, and we were at this corner cafe, or and we're getting something, and we had ordered. We were waiting by the door. Next thing, we're literally like, the door is like this right here to us. My brother and I are right here, and the door swings. Before the door swings open, we hear like a loud smack, and it's someone kicked the like sign out front for the restaurant.
Yeah.
And it was this homeless guy, and he bursts into the restaurant. He goes to the register. He goes like this with all the water bottles.
Oh,
He goes,
shit.
chucks them at the register, at the guy, at the owner. I guess he was the owner, but he was just like chucking them full on, like throwing, right? Me and Ivan and I are just like, okay, right? And then next thing you know, the owner comes around the register, and he literally is in front of us. He grabs the guy, and what's the first thing he did? He started hitting him in the back of his head. But I mean, look, he might be somebody who comes around and does that. So I don't know. Like it could have been a reoccurring thing, but regardless, like
and then that's what
he picked it. He just started throwing blows. I was just like,
yeah. Well, that's what like they said that this guy always comes around to this restaurant too. But it's funny because when the waiter came out the first time, he told this guy, I'm gonna fold you if you keep coming back. And the guy kept repeating it. And when we went to walk to our seat to go eat, the guy was all like, you heard that? You need to call the cop, like all telling us, like, you need to call the cops because this guy said he's gonna fold me. I don't even know what that means. But he was like, he said he's gonna fold me. And then when that whole thing happened, I'm just like, for real, like you couldn't have one person like just kind of monitor him and handle him while somebody else called the cops and then have them deal with it. And that might be like kind of like naive of me because of all the situations that are happening with cops. And this guy was African American. I was kind of like skeptical on that, but still, like, it's just like there could have been a way better solution to this than you jumping him. Like, that's some weak shit to me.
No, I think you're just harping on what it needs to be harped on because like, how do we handle most things, right? We do the wrong way aggressively, or like you said, it could have taken somebody who was level or just had the mindset to handle conflict, or just even it just really takes that who wants to be put in front of that like chopping block or that situation to really do, because most people aren't. Most people haven't thought of like how would they handle it, a problem outside of their friend group, outside of someone they know. How do you dispute on the street, and like that's where there's like, I really thought how, if shit happens to me on the street, like how would I stand on it? How would I go about it? Like,
right.
I got to really think about these things. Like I'm 25 going on 26 years old. Like I can't be playing, oh, I'm young, but I'm not old. Like I can't be playing either card. Like, so it's like, I'm really trying to like secure myself. And also, like I said, the things that I stand on, the things that I believe in, I want to just go for it, but also be educated enough to speak on certain things, but also handle certain things, like knowing mental illness, trauma, like all that stuff, how you talk to someone, getting, there's ways to get out of this, and so I just applaud that because, this is the stuff that needs to be talked about. And so
and you kind of like said something there, because you're right, you're like at the age where you're not necessarily young anymore. Like, I mean, we're still young essentially, but we're not young, we're not like college kids or even high school kids, but we're also not old. But we're also not old either, so it's like this weird age, like how do we conduct ourselves, like how, like, I'm a grown woman now, I'm an adult, but I'm also not, I'm also not like an extreme adult, like, you know what I mean, like like I'm also I'm like not 45 either.
Like I'm not doing what, like, obviously 45-year-old Celia or 45-year-old Eric is like,
Right.
We've got to think down the line, but like obviously still take the level as they come and learn from each year. And because this isn't our final form, or it's just we're just on this level now.
Exactly.
Which brings me to kind of like leveling everything back down in this episode, with kind of like this final moments right now. Just wanted to open up for you to, like, is there anybody want to shout out, anything you want to say, or things like that?
I just shout out to my city at the end of the day. Like, I'm just glad we did this and talked about, just everything essentially. And like I said, at the end of the day, I miss the city. I love the city. I want people to also just remember, be true to yourself. I know that sounds really cliche and cheesy, but it is true. Like, listen to your heart and your gut. I know sometimes it's kind of hard to do that in the moment, but at the end of the day, you'll know what's right for you.
Trusting yourself to trust the process.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Celia. Like, I really, really can't like thank you enough with just words, but I hope you feel it. Like, I really am grateful that you got on here today and you gave me more confidence just to keep going. So I want to say thank you,
Of course.
not only
Of
from
course.
me, but from my family, from everyone at home. Like, we do miss you, we do love you, and obviously we can't wait till you come back home and visit in the meantime. But now that we got to speak a little more, like, I look forward to the future, what stuff that you do, and obviously want to keep up with you and on the show again, or we can
Oh
talk
yeah,
about
we'll
anything.
definitely we could definitely do this again whenever you run out of people.
Not
Just
even
let me.
it's just not even because I don't think it's gonna be like people are gonna jump on. Like,
Mhm.
this is for everyone. This is for everyone. It's kind of like my house is your house thing. My show is your show.
Said you want to have like an open talk with like multiple people. Fuck it, I'll
Like
be
a
on.
round table eventually, and like
Yeah,
like maybe we could like do like I don't know what they're called, but we sit around and try some food, but also talk about music or
like kind of like mukbangs or
there you go,
mukbang.
that thing. I just
Yeah,
didn't want to say it. I didn't want to look funny.
I think mukbang, but I say mukbang because
I like it better that way.
yeah, I like it better that way.
I like it
Exactly.
better that way. Right on.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna press stop.
Right.